Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in this episode of The Hypnotist, you're going to be listening to a hypnosis session created for a client that had a long-standing, quite deep belief that they couldn't handle it. They couldn't survive almost if they were alone. And the consequence of that belief is that it led them to make bad decisions about their relationships, particularly romantic relationships, but also led them to feel insecure. So for relationships that they didn't want to be in, they ended up staying in for longer because there was this fear that they would end up alone if they left the relationship. And when they found a relationship that they truly valued, then there was a fear that somehow it's all going to go crumbling down and that they're also going to end up alone. And that fear of loneliness can lead to anxiety, can lead to fears and insecurities, but it can also come across as quite clingy or needy because it's a coping strategy to mitigate the insecurities and the fears attached to the underlying belief. So what you're going to hear in this hypnosis session is not to alleviate the symptoms of the fear, but to get to the underlying belief, and that actually they may not want to be alone, but they could certainly be okay if they were alone. And what that does is it gives them evidence through memories, updating them with this new belief system that they're stronger than they think they are. And actually, by having the belief system that they did in their employment kind of life, they believe that even if they lost their job, they would simply find another job that's maybe even better soon because of their resources, because of their skills. And yet they didn't have that belief in their relationship. So what you're going to hear is an element of updating a disempowering belief system, but also mapping across the structure of a very empowering belief that would lead to less anxiety and more feelings of empowerment. Obviously, this was created for a very specific individual, happened to be male in a male-female relationship, but the crux of a fear of being alone can be quite insidious and can lead to lots of horrible emotions and lots of insecurities and worries and fears. So if you feel like you would want something a bit more bespoke and customized, there will be a link in the show notes where you can schedule that free consultation call. For now, though, find a quiet, comfortable place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe in a resourceful feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, feel a wonderful sense of release as you can feel tension leaving your body in that outward breath. When you breathe in deeper and for longer than you normally would. And as you exhale, feel any worries, stress, tension leaving your body in that outward breath as you elongate the breath. really emptying your lungs, feeling that tension leave your body, so that when you breathe in, you're breathing in even more resourcefulness than you did before. The deeper you breathe, the more relaxed you become. The more relaxed your body becomes, the more your imagination and your unconscious awakens. And I want you to feel that while your physical body stays exactly where it is, your thoughts start to go back in time. Not into a memory, but observing a memory. I want you to observe maybe the earliest memory you can think of where you struggled being alone. Maybe you were a child. Maybe your father was working or asleep. Maybe your mother was working. I want you to feel a sense of empathy as you see that younger version of you struggling in some way with not having a sense of security, connection, comfort around. And maybe there's other memories similar. As you see that younger version of you that was dependent on others, that weren't always there. And at the time, as that child, you probably decided or made an evaluation that you didn't like that feeling of being alone. And a part of you was created to protect or mitigate against the possibility of being alone. But now that you are the age that you are, looking back at that memory, I want you to give a different meaning. Not that you couldn't cope, but that you did. You didn't need people. You wanted people. You wanted attention, affection, connection, but you didn't need it. And the fact that you're alive is evidence that you didn't need it. Because if you were starved of oxygen at the same age, you would have been dead within minutes. If you were deprived of sleep, again, you wouldn't have survived. Oxygen, food, water, these were your needs as a child. Everything else was simply desirable. And I want you to get a sense that you survived even without as much of that time, energy, affection, someone to listen, someone to guide you as much as you would have wanted, and you survived anyway. But in doing so, you realized you value real human connection. What you really value is not someone doing something from a sense of duty, obligation, someone settling. What you really value is when someone chooses to give you their time, energy, and emotions. And I want you to follow that timeline where a younger version of you decided that you couldn't handle being on your own. And I want you to see how it lent itself to a long-term relationship that didn't serve you. And part of what kept you in that relationship is the fear of being alone. that fear wasn't keeping you safe, it was keeping you trapped. Because with the benefit of hindsight, you would now make a different decision. Therefore, the bodyguard to keep you safe was actually a prison guard, encouraging you to settle, to compromise your standards, to accept the breadcrumbs of life, rather than the banquet of emotional possibilities. And if you now feel that the belief that you couldn't handle being alone was a trap rather than a protection, let me know by nodding your head. And if you feel that that belief not only wasn't true, but it was a disempowering belief that led to bad choices with the benefit of hindsight, let me know by nodding your head. And I want you to see life has given you, call it serendipity, fate, chances, opportunities, that if certain things didn't happen, you might find yourself trapped in an unhappy relationship. You might find yourself the father of a child in a relationship that you never really wanted. I want you to consider these near misses. These near misses were close calls that increase their probability through the fear of being alone. And I want you to consider a different belief system. And that is that you can easily handle being on your own. It's not a need, but it is a strong desire. But you're not willing to be in a situation that doesn't serve you just to avoid being on your own. And I want you to rewind things all the way back to when you were a child, but see yourself with a new belief system. You can handle being on your own. See yourself as a child enjoying the solitude. See yourself as a child empowered by all of that freedom. See yourself as a child that had all the time in the world to think, to decide what's truly important. I want you to see that time by yourself is a gift, not a curse. Given the choice, you would choose to be with the company of others. But you don't need it. See how that childhood would have been different. But more importantly, see yourself with that new belief at the start of what ended up being a long relationship. And that new belief, the belief that you can be fine on your own. You can even be emboldened and empowered by times of solitude. I want you to see how that version of you dealt with that relationship differently. That you were willing to tolerate less unhappy moments. See yourself with higher standards. See yourself living a better life. I want you to explore a different timeline of a near-miss relationship. But see yourself with that new belief that you want to be with someone that also wants to be with you. But you don't need to be with someone just to be with someone. Notice how that frame of reference leads to different choices, different decisions, as you start to feel that the other side of a tug of war is now pulling in exactly the same direction, the direction of you having a happy, confident future. That the prison guard is becoming a bodyguard, filling you with a sense of security, confidence, that you can want to be in a relationship without needing to be in a relationship. And when the fear of loss goes, your ability to make good decisions from a place of love, desire, and commitment becomes supercharged. Nobody makes the best decisions through fear. And some of your memories are evidence that that is true. So feel that there is no fear of being alone. You can handle it. You may even find it useful. But given the choice, you would choose to be with someone that matches your own desires. That you want to be with someone that also wants to be with you, and anything less than that, you would rather be alone. And if all parts of your unconscious mind agree, particularly a former prison guard that's now your bodyguard, let me know by nodding your head. And start to think about your future. I want you to think about things that triggered you in the past, just to check that they don't trigger you now, as you feel that you are now living with the belief you can handle being alone even if you don't want it. And in doing so, you make choices that are empowered from a place of love, confidence, commitment, not fear, and not insecurities. And if it feels like those old triggers seem to have lost their ability to trigger you, just let me know by nodding your head. In fact, I want you to think of a worst case scenario. Something you don't want to happen, but maybe has been an insecurity of fear. And I want you to imagine watching yourself, experiencing that, and being okay with it. Not devastated, not broken. That if you can handle the very worst thing, then it means that anything less than that simply becomes insignificant. I want you to feel that you're stepping into that version of you, feeling that whatever life throws at you, you can handle it. That the way that you think about your employment opportunities means that you don't fear being unemployed. You simply have a deep conviction that you will find a way that leads to an empowered future, and allow your unconscious mind to map across that belief now to your relationships. You don't want to be alone, but if it happens, you can handle it. And by believing that to be true, you decrease the possibility of any undesirable things happening, as neediness starts to dissipate, clinginess evaporates, dependency disappears, as you feel more confident, more connected, and more empowered than ever before. And if you feel the shift has taken place, it's in the past now, and you're experiencing you with the change having changed, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. It's time to return to the present as you take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes, connect fully into the present moment. As I count from 1 to 10, you will feel Mentally, emotionally, and physically, you're returning to the here and now, fully present and in the moment, feeling empowered with a new belief system. Starting to count 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.